Hi guys, it's Dr. Lori and I'm ready to start the Squeaky Clean Liver Detox with you. And I wanted to go through the main points of this with you on a short YouTube so that you understand what to do and how to avoid the pitfalls. So I am going to share my screen with you briefly. Give me a minute. Okay. So I think the most important thing to do here is, let me go to your sample day. I'm going to go all the way to the end of your booklet that you received. And what you're going to notice is that there's a sample day here. And this is how you're taking your pills. There's a couple of different places in your booklet that it talks about this, but I want you to note that you're doing 2 scoops of powder in the morning and 2 scoops of powder in the evening. And I find it easier to split those powder scoops into 1, 1, 1, and 1 and mix them with almond milk or rice milk at room temperature. Okay. I have also tea on hand at all times. It's organic green tea. You're going to want to have some on hand if you're a coffee drinker or even a tea drinker. That's going to help keep you going throughout the day. And you can use lemon in your tea or your water. Lots and lots and lots of filtered water will help to avoid any of the achiness or even hunger of the first 2 days or achiness during the liver detox. So I think that's really important. The second thing to note is the first 2 days, you're only taking the supporter capsules. Those supporter capsules are in the packets, and those packets, you have 7 packets, and they actually have 4 cream pills in them. The 2 supporter capsules in the morning and the 2 supporter capsules in the evening, and it has a resveratrol and a fish oil. The resveratrol and fish oil are just meant to help support you. You can take those first thing in the morning with the rest of your stuff. Days 3 through 7, you're going to add in your processor capsules. They're in the bottle, and you're going to do 2 in the morning and 2 at night. If you forget a capsule or 2 capsules, one of the during the day, whatever, you don't need to double up on any of them. Just skip it and move on to the next day. Okay. So I think it's really important to make sure that you have your organic tea, have your almond milk and your rice milk to mix your powder, room temperature. You can use a magic bullet or a blender or a shaker. It's not great if it settles because it does settle pretty quickly. So I would drink it down relatively fast. And then you are not doing any food for the rest of the first 2 days except for the powder. Now, if you get headaches, a little bit of organic fruit juice, like a sugar-free, non-added sugar rather, organic cranberry juice or something like that. Take a couple ounces and sip on that to help the headache to go away. It will help once you get a little bit of sugar into the bloodstream. Okay. It doesn't ruin the detox to have a little bit to get you through. There is no coffee. So to reiterate a little bit of, you can use organic green tea. All right. So all these recipes that are in here are great. Pick the recipes you like. It doesn't have to be every ingredient, and shop ahead of time. They are a wonderful resource. There's also a great grocery list at the top that gives you all of the groceries necessary for these recipes. Don't feel obligated to stick to these recipes, but I do want you to note at the top, most of these make 2 servings, okay? So you're not doing 2 servings per meal, you're doing 1 serving. So these are going to be good for 2 meals. We're not trying to overeat our calories either, okay? Here is your grocery list. So just examples of the foods that are acceptable. The first for the days 3 through 7, you can see there's limited fruits and vegetables. We're doing lean grass-fed beef only, chicken and turkey. We're leaving out a lot of allergenic food groups like all the fish, eggs, and that kind of thing. Why? Because this is an elimination diet as well. We're pulling out the foods that might bother people, and then we're going to reintroduce them after the 7 or 28 days. Okay, and you're going to want to reintroduce them one at a time very slowly, and that's very important. It's also important that you don't forget that it's nice to do labs at the end of this. I can do lab work for you. It's $150 to review your labs. We'll get them through your insurance, hopefully, and we can see what the liver detox did for you. We want to know what additional things we need to do to keep you healthy. So, do you need additional anti-inflammatory treatment? Do you need gut treatment? So that'll help me to determine what you need to do. Okay, special ingredients list. Have these on hand. It's a huge help. So the Dirty Dozen, or the 12 fruits and vegetables that we absolutely suggest you get organic. And anything else, those included and everything else, I suggest you wash with apple cider vinegar wash, which is water, apple cider vinegar, baking soda, and lemon. You can also use a commercially available spray if that's what you're using. Have chia and quinoa, Himalayan sea salt, and a coconut milk, rice milk, or almond milk on hand. Okay. They're great for your last days 3 through 7 or up to 28 days. Okay. So let me just get you a quick image of the Dirty Dozen, maybe. So the Dirty Dozen are the 12 fruits and vegetables that you should absolutely always buy organic. So apples, celery, strawberries, peaches, spinach, nectarines, grapes, bell peppers, potatoes, blueberries, lettuce, and kale. Why? Thin skin or no skin, so the pesticides leach in very quickly. Okay, so you may find that you will find that they actually have more pesticides in them if you buy them non-organic. Other sources of toxins, and without going through everything, we want to do all purified water because water can be obviously have pollutants. We also want to do no artificial food colorings if we can help it, additive sweeteners. Our bottled products, you want to try to keep away from your bottled waters and anything that might have any kind of plastic to it. This is your cleaning products. This is a big one. I feel like we underestimate our cleaning products all the time, and we have a massive exposure to inside pollutants with cleaning products. So try to avoid these things for the next week specifically. But if these are things that you can change in your lifestyle every day, I would highly recommend it. So it takes 26 seconds for products to enter the bloodstream from a typical household chemical, which is nothing. So we really want to try to, this to me, if you're going to pick something to focus on that's not food related, this is a great one. So just to kind of reiterate why we're doing this, the liver is a huge sponge, and we know that it actually will detoxify our body and get the toxins out of the fat if it's allowed to do so. But if it's too overburdened, you get lots of problems. And these are just some of the problems that we're trying to alleviate. Digestion problems, cholesterol, overweight, underweight, allergies, skin disorders, fatigue, moods, anger, depression, dark circles, blood sugar and hormonal imbalances are huge. PMS, asthma, flus, colds, sinus infections that are frequent, muscle and joint pains, insomnia, and chemical sensitivities. I find that gut disorder people have a much higher toxic exposure and their livers are much worse. And by that same token, they have a lot more muscle pain, joint pain, and food and chemical sensitivities that their immune system is too heightened that we need to control. It's almost like that gut immune connection is directly related to the liver as well. So again, we love to do these diets all the time. The problem with diets is you rebound. You get rid of the fat. You have all this toxin sitting around, and we need to excrete it. The point of this liver detox is to take the toxin out of the fat, make it an intermediary, and make it water soluble and get it out of the body. That's the part that's missing in most diets. So we do that, and as we do that, afterwards we slim down the fat. Okay, so without me going through all of the slideshow for you guys on here, I wanted to give you the key points for people that missed it. And I think we forget how important these meds are and that what they do when they deplete our nutrients. And hold on one second. Tea time. All right, look at this. We have antacids, antibiotics, diabetes drugs, antidepressants, anti-inflammatories, heart drugs, water pills, diuretics, cholesterol lowering agents, ulcer medications, probably one of my biggest pet peeves, and synthetic hormone replacement or oral contraceptives. The vitamins that are depleted, if you look on this right column, are very similar. We're talking about B12, magnesium, CoQ10, vitamin C. And what does that do? It literally inhibits this liver detox pathway. If you see here, we have a ton of nutrients that are needed to get this stuff out of our system. And that's just one thing we use that all those vitamins and nutrients for. We need it for thyroid, we need it for metabolism. So if we are depleting our nutrients with these things and not replacing them, what is the downstream effect? The liver is not able to do its job and we just accumulate more toxic exposure. So the job of this specifically, and I'm going to go back to like my very first slide for you guys, is digestion, elimination, microflora, balance, and gut integrity. So we want to make sure we can break our foods down and get rid of them. We want to put back all the good bacteria in there. And we want to make sure the lining is healed up, that we don't have food sensitivities that we're eating and we're destroying our bodies. We don't have other kind of internal toxins and our gut is not leaky and irritated. When we do all these things with our liver health, we will have a healthy body and our metabolism will be much more efficient. So again, we're not doing a colon cleanse here. We're not trying to like get all the stuff out of the bowels. We're trying to get the toxins out of the fat. Toxins sit in fat. That's where they sit. And the heavier we get, the more toxic we get, which is not good, right? So, and especially belly fat, the more belly fat we have, the more toxic we get. So we want to make sure that we're getting rid of this at least once a year by getting rid of the food, which is the biggest source of our toxic exposure, or one of the biggest sources anyway. And, if we get rid of that for 2 days, we give our body a chance to do what it's supposed to do without having all this toxic burden. Meats, hormones, refined foods and sugars, dietaries like fast foods, fried foods, and obviously the pesticides and the herbicides. So we want to make sure that these things are eliminated for 2 days so we can give our liver a fair and fighting chance, right? Then it can say, okay, well, I'm not busy anymore. I'm going to use the pills that we talked about a few minutes ago, and I'm going to take those, and I'm going to help get fat out of the body toxins out of the fat and out of the blood into the bloodstream, and then we pee them out because we make them water soluble. So it's a very, very, very cool thing to do because really you're just doing yourself a service every day. I do this once a year, and I want to show you really quickly the ingredients, maybe not on here, the ingredients on our some of our pills, because everybody wants to know, or what am I taking, right? You're not just taking nutrients. You're not just taking vitamin A and C and D and whatever, which is what your the one capsule kind of is. Your transformer powder has your pea protein, which is going to be non-allergenic, and fiber, but it also has some amino acids, green tea, some other things that are going to help to pull psyllium husk and fiber to pull everything out of the system. The other really great thing is the processor has dandelion root, artichoke, milk thistle, garlic, turmeric, beet leaf. All these things are shown to actually pull fat out of the pull the toxins out of the fat and into the bloodstream. They're called chlorretic agents, and they help to produce bile. And they help the natural production of bile, which is from the gallbladder, to help these things get pulled out and processed. There's also beet leaf and the dandelion are more of like a diuretic to cleanse you out. They get the water moving and get everything pulled out of you. And then we have the amino acids, inositol and methionine, that help to break down the fat so that you can get the toxins out of the liver. So they all work together. These are what we would say to support phase 1 and phase 2 conjugation in the liver. They're not just like supplementing your diet. They're actually doing something. You may notice a few things. You may notice that your poop is dark or lighter, that it's a little bit firmer, that you are achy or fevery or anything like that. If you notice these things, there's a couple of guidelines. Lots and lots and lots of purified water. You can do magnesium foot baths. We can do some baking soda water, and I will give you some other tips on day 2 to help with this Herxheimer reaction that can happen. You don't have COVID if this happens. It's just the reaction from you releasing these toxins, and we can help you get through that. The other thing is you don't need to take your regular supplements during this week. You can only take your thyroid medicines. You can take, obviously, blood pressure, blood thinners, anything that's medically necessary. You can still take your antidepressants, I would still take, but you do not take your supplementation. No gum chewing as well. And trust me, there's no good organic sugar-free gum anyway. And no multigrain breads. So just because it's multigrain doesn't mean it's good for you. We talked about green tea, but also make sure you have that for your coffee withdrawal if you are a coffee drinker. It will help tremendously. And I'm going to say this again, this is not a colon cleanse, this is a liver detox. So it's meant to clean out the liver so that your body works efficiently and not to purge the colon. No goat dairy either, unless you know that it doesn't bother you. And exercise. Be careful with exercise. I suggest no exercise for a week. However, if you feel you have to exercise, 2 days that you don't eat, you might just want to do core or abs or something very simple, because you will not have a lot of energy to do it. Day 3 and 4 are a little bit rough as well. But you can probably do a little bit more, but I wouldn't go crazy with cardio. And then, I would just do something lighter than usual up through day 7. The last one is oranges. I don't know why this is a question all the time, but oranges, yes, they're a citrus, and yes, technically they have a lot of vitamin C, but we don't recommend them. They're very high in sugar, and they're actually very allergenic. So the goal of this is to finish it out, whether you do 7 or 28 days of the clean eating, and then add one allergenic food group in at a time. And I will give you a guideline on how to do that. But don't forget, you want to log if you're feeling anything when you add that food group back in. Dietary changes, headaches, bowel movement changes, stomach pain, energy level fluctuations, any of that stuff. So we don't want to miss the point of reintroducing these food groups and maybe doing labs at the end, which is 150 if you're not in a program with me. We can review your labs, and I can give you recommendations on what you still need. So I think that pretty much covers it. I'm going to go back real quick and see. I love the rice cake with almond butter. It's super easy. Obviously, guacamole. I'm like a huge guacamole person. I do like the strawberry avocado? Obviously, strawberry avocado spinach salad I'll do. Just remember, these aren't like set in stone. If you change them a little bit and you add a little chicken to something or whatever, that's fine. Just be really cautious of your calorie content. For example, the lemon kebab chickens, that's 4 servings, and it's giving you the serving calories per serving, which is what you want to try to stick with. Okay, because this is still a relatively low calorie diet. It's probably a little more carbs than some of are used to if you're a keto person. But remember, these are very low residue carbohydrates. We're not doing any very, very complex starches. So besides from the sweet potato, and they're low residue, which means your liver can process these very efficiently, and you're not going to have a lot of inflammation to them. So they're for the time being, right? They're temporary. If you go back to keto, that's totally fine. I love the cinnamon raisin delight. That's one of my favorite ones. I do it as a dessert. And I think, and then you have your, like I said, your grocery list here for you. I highly recommend going to this grocery list and looking at just the items without the recipes too, and seeing what items interest you so you can make up your own foods as well. These are sample days. I do like them because if you're not creative like me, it gives you a good idea of what to do every day, but it's not mandatory. Now, don't forget, you are still drinking your shakes with your foods, right? So, some of them have the scoops in the recipe. So like, for example, the mixed berry smoothie has it in the recipe. So be cautious. Don't double up. But you are doing your smoothie or your shake rather the same when you're eating as well. Okay, guys, look for my email. We're going to do some group sessions as well. Some group like bounce things off each other, troubleshooting sessions. I will put them into the email tomorrow. They will have some dates and times that I'll be available on Zoom. Don't feel obligated to join the group. If you have questions, you can always email me directly and we can commiserate together because it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so I will see you all soon and have a great evening. And let's do this. Let's get healthy. That's why we're doing this, right? So it's always a good thing to take control of your health and your life and do what you need to do in order to get the metabolism moving again and get the weight coming off. Because that's our ultimate goal, is to have a healthy body as possible. And I'm going to stop there, guys. So have a good night.